Navigating through the energies of New Earth is not an easy process and can become extremely overwhelming at times. As we all ascend into higher frequencies, we're all being guided to embrace our own unique divine pathway, a pathway created in the vibration of love. Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within and understand the message being shared even greater. When you live in the frequency of love, there is no competition, so Carrie will be joined regularly by fellow soul family members who will bring forth wisdom and knowledge she knows should be shared on a global level. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners to see what message Spirit wants to share with all those listening in for the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, come and join us now on Vibe Nation Radio, here on the IOM Radio Network.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest, Carol Starr Taylor, who is an author, an inspirational speaker, a clarity coach, and she's the founder of the Traveling Sisterhood. And she's joining me today. She's a dear friend. I've known her for a very long time, and I thought, what a beautiful day to be talking about chaos to clarity. I said to her a few minutes ago, I said, because just take a look around. There's a lot of chaos taking place on this planet, and we really need to take the power back to ourselves and allow the clarity come through our own chaos. So, Carol, are you there, my dear friend?
I am. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and thank you for joining me. And again, I think it's so cool that, you know, how Vibe Nation Radio always aligns with the energy that's happening. And, you know, when you take a look outside in the world, there's a lot of chaos going on. And I think that's a very pivotal time where you and I can sit here and talk about, you know, how do we go from chaos to clarity, because we've both been there. And yes. The one thing I love about Carol is Carol and I go back when we were both in the event industry, so we've known each other about 20 years or so. And to see both of us shift from that industry into the spiritual industry and going from chaos to clarity, we were kind of on the same pathway. So it was very cool to be part of Carol's transformation. It was a beautiful experience, and I'm so happy for you with the new book that's come out. And again, she's such a wonderful person. So why don't we just talk a little bit about, you know, chaos to clarity and what it really means to you?
Well, chaos to clarity, I mean, when we're in chaos, we're not seeing clearly, obviously, and yes. We are bombarded by what's happening on the outside, in the outside world. We are bombarded yes. by the drama, what's going around within our social circle. We are bombarded by all the chaos that goes on social media. And then we have our own personal chaos where we're really not sure, and we get stuck. We're really not sure what direction we should be going. And when that happens, we often make choices in our lives that can further spin us into more chaos, and because we aren't thinking clearly. The clarity does happen when we take a step back, and whether it's through meditation and you start to connect all of the things that you've been going through and listen to your gut and listen to the instincts that you have, so that that little voice that you have in your head, that is, you got to listen to that. And so the clarity does come, and then you start to make better choices for you and how you can move forward in your life, and how you actually can react to the chaos that surrounds you.
Yes. And a lot of it has to do with us, you know, training the ego, or training the boys. As people who know me, that's how I call them that. You know, it is. The ego is very powerful, especially when you're caught up in the outside chaos. And you can't see clearly, because really we are a soul who has its own perspective, but too often we allow other people's perspective to taint our true perspective of who we truly are. And, so that's the law of allowing. And I know you're big within that as well because of your spiritual journey. And, right now I feel that, people just need to take a moment and just shut off the mind. And a lot of people can't do that. So I always recommend, go for a walk and try to just absorb what's in front of you. Don't be thinking. Don't let your mind start to yap, because that's when the clarity can't come in when the monkeys are yapping. And, or listen to music, soft music, not word music that's instrumental, so that your mind can listen to the music, but there's no words attached to it. So it's almost like you can shut down the mind again.
Yes, and there are so many other strategies to use when your mind is cluttered and the energies are just so strong that you just can't seem to find your way. And I think that there's a mental image that I have where I surround myself in a bubble of light that is where nothing can penetrate. That really does help. And
yes,
when you view yourself, or if somebody else is, they look at themselves, and you can visualize yourself as Teflon, where all those energies are just bouncing back out, that you can't be touched. The thing is about being in chaos is that when you're spiraling deeper and deeper and deeper into chaos, that's where you find your rock bottom. And then if you think you have you say, oh, I've hit rock bottom, and then the universe turns around and says, oh, you thought that was rock bottom? Let me show you what rock bottom is. And what it does is it chips away at whatever ego you have. And that's one of the things that I talk about in my book, is that I didn't even think I had ego. And I realized that I did until it was totally annihilated, that I was able to actually get the clarity.
Yes, absolutely. And that bubble you're talking about, it probably was not there during the chaos, right?
No. That was something that I had to implement as I was going through the journey to see what worked for me, and I had to protect myself.
Yes. Yeah, that was part of your clarity tools that you were using for yourself.
That's correct. And as you start to show your authentic self more and more, and that's part of the clarity, and living your authentic life, you need to protect. You need to protect yourself from the energies that are around you, because not everybody, feels the same way. So you don't want to create further chaos. You want to protect yourself and understand that, you're always looking for clarity. You're always asking the universe to send you some sort of sign, to send you the clarity that you need in this certain situation.
Mm-hmm. And the signs and synchronicities are huge when you start to go through this process, like you said. And a lot of people don't realize that the signs are there, but you just might not see them, because, again, when you're going from chaos to clarity, sometimes you don't see something that's right in front of your face. And again, it's don't beat yourself up for this. This is a process that we go through. Or sometimes you'll get a sign and not realize it's a sign until 2 or 3 days later, and somebody says something about what you just experienced, and then it clicks in. It's like, whoa, that's what that meant. And this is the beauty of this.
Exactly.
You need to see the magic in every single one of us hits that real rock bottom, which is the mass awakening that people take when they start to get into the clarity. You have to hit rock bottom, and to a point. And a lot of people, when they get to this area, they're very, very depressed. Some are even suicidal. But it's through the process of waking up, the clarity that comes in, and you can look back and you can understand why you have gone through what you've gone through, because it's made you the person that you are today. And look who you've become, my dear.
Well, that's it. And my book is filled with different pieces of my life, and the chaos that I had gone through from birth, and really the process and the journey it took to get to that clarity point. And we're always learning, and it's not that you're never in chaos again. It's just that it's your mindset, it's your approach and you don't really focus on the chaos, but you're using your own tools that work for you to move in the direction. And really, I do ask the universe for that clarity. I do ask for signs, but I'm also now more cognizant of the signs. And even if I miss it, it'll come stronger. And if I miss it again, it'll be like hitting you over the head. It's like,
wake up
and not see the sign. Like, wake up. There it is.
Absolutely. And it gets to a point when you start to get that clarity, my friends, when you're working with the ego, you can actually, again, the boys become more of your friends. That, yes, you're going to go through chaos, but your chaos might be like really not chaos at all, because you know how to handle the energy, because you fill it with love and not fear. That's a big one. So, and, Spirit is telling me, for those that are listening in, it's just really important to know that there is no wrong or right to this process, that it's not a race, and that you might be going, oh my gosh, I'm not in a very good place, and then get there, and then you're up and down and all over the place. Don't look at someone else's life and say, well, how come they went through it so quickly, or how come they went through that and I didn't? Because everyone has their own journey. So when we come back, we'll go deeper into Chaos of Clarity with my special guest, Carol Starr Taylor. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Cielito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest, Carol Starr Taylor, and I are talking about shifting from chaos to clarity. And during the commercial break, Spirit's like, okay, let's talk about triggers, repeated patterns, and life lessons. And, we spoke about this earlier, Carol, about, the life lessons are what need to be, that bring you down this clarity path, and how the triggers are allowing you to see what really needs to be released, and until you actually get it, you kind of repeat the same pattern.
Correct.
So let's go a little deeper with this.
Okay, so basically, I want to also talk about, we talked about the journey and the timeline And I have to tell you and your listeners that this was 48 years for me. It didn't happen overnight. I kept repeating the same cycle over and over and over again in my personal relationships, in my business relationships, in my jobs, my romantic relationships. The same type of people, the same types of situations kept repeating themselves over and over and over again until I could break that cycle. And it's only until it was almost like knocked over the head, like, okay, I get it now. And so, and really, when you're in that chaos, now that I've got the clarity, now that I can see the pattern, I can recognize the pattern. But it took a long time, and it's a process. It's a journey. It's not like you wake up one day and say, "Oh, I've got clarity now." It doesn't work that way. And you have to make certain choices, and based on those choices that you're making, we'll see if it's a life lesson or whether you are going back to old patterns or are you shifting to creating the new you. And the triggers, I mean, it's really, when I think about it, it's, fear is a big trigger. When you're in fear and your perceptions, again, go back to what you know, or your comfort zone of I'll try this or I'll do this, and you're not thinking straight because fear just takes over, anxiety, and you're worried about stuff instead of saying, okay, you know what? I know how to handle this. And I think that when you see a trigger, when something does trigger you, it's taking a step back now and saying, okay, the old me would have reacted this way. The new me, the clarity me, reacts this way. And sometimes it's not reacting at all.
Yes, it's
especially
responding.
There are people in our lives that love to create chaos. They want to. They can push our buttons, and they can, right? So that is a trigger, and know that you can go their way, and it's just going to be more drama for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like when you're having a conversation. And, again, out now, what's going on out there, like you shouldn't really, I'm not one to really go out and talk about what's really going on in the world because Carrie's in Carrieland. But people can, again, their perspective could be very different on what you perceive of what's happening. And, I had this conversation with somebody yesterday that I love dearly. And, I said, I appreciate your views on this, but that's not how I view this. And we're just going to call it, a day. We're not talking about this. You're in this thought pattern. I'm in that thought pattern. And you know what? I love you. You can believe whatever you want and respect me for the same. And they agreed. And there was no, I wasn't going to go down that path because, again, when you're in the clarity and whatever is right for me does not mean it's right for the person beside me. It means it's right for Carrie. This is what Carrie perceives and what's going to make Carrie a better person. And I'm not going to bring somebody down by trying to try to force my views on somebody, especially when they're not awake. When you're in that chaos, we're there to help nudge you, but we're not there to, how do I want to say this? You have to go through the process yourself is what I'm trying to say in the end of the day, that no one else can go through this process for you. They can open up the door and show you the way, but the process yourself is yours and you need to own it. And some people go through certain things a lot longer than someone else. Someone might oh my God, this week I learned this and I got this clarity. And others I only got a little bit of clarity. But again, that's your soul saying this is what you can handle right now. But the more you work on yourself and the more you take in your own soul power, the more clarity you get. And this is something I know that Carol and I were kind of on the same, I think you and I were on the same path because I'm almost 48, right? And when I think about when you and I connected, every time we would connect over the years, you and I were kind of going through the same thing. It's like, yeah, me too.
Right.
You know? So and look where we are today, Carol. And I mean, this is the beauty of this, that you can look back and say, wow, but we are stronger souls because of what we went through. And you may not see it when you're in the chaos, my friends. But again, like Carol's book, I mean, do yourself a favor and have some me time. And we'll talk about this in the last segment, how you can find her for her book and things that she's got going on. But, you know, this is taking a little bit of me time and sit down and say, you know what? Maybe you only have me time for half an hour a day for yourself because you're so busy. You know, dedicate yourself, make yourself a cup of tea or whatever, sit down and read 1 or 2 chapters and then say, okay, that's my half hour today. And because as you're going through the book, you grow with it. It allows you to start to open up to the process so that by the end of the book, your soul's like, okay, I know what I need to do. You know, so
yeah.
It's a journey.
It is, and there are processes that I think are important, and one is forgiveness, and that is a huge, because what ends up happening until you can forgive all the people that you have had chaos with, whether or that you feel that have done wrong to you, and send them on their way with love, I think that you can't release it. You have to surrender and release all of that, and to say, okay, I understand, and I forgive you, and that it's not an albatross on your back. So that forgiveness is a huge component, and a lot of people out there are probably saying, I can't, how can I forgive this person? How can I forgive? But what ends up happening is that just those thoughts of that you can't forgive, you're the prisoner. It imprisons you, and you're still attached to it. And in order to grow from the experience, you can't be attached to it any longer.
Absolutely.
So that's a very, very, very important component to moving from chaos to clarity. And because we're constantly, the things that happen in our lives and the people that have done things to us and our relationships, that it's really, we have to move forward, and we can't move forward if we're still back there.
Absolutely. It's sorry, I feel like we have one of your loved ones in spirit with me right now.
Oh, really?
I'm getting this overwhelming, and I believe it's your mother, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
Just checking in on a little girl. She just kind of took over me because I was like, I had all this thought in my head, and all of a sudden, like, whoa, what happened to all those? Because you were speaking, and I was thinking, okay, I want to talk about this, and then this beautiful, loving energy just took over me. So just know, again, she knows this is not her radio show, but she's just showing up, Carol, to say that she's with us right now, and she's so proud of you for what you've done. We'll talk after the show, myself. Because again, part of the chaos, and as you're going through this, there's people that you love that are solely, that are connected to you, but that, you've got to break free, because at the end of the day, you're not in the same vibrational match. And this is what happens when you start to go from the chaos to clarity, that you start to realize that there's just certain people in your life that you can't be around. They're not good for your soul. They don't make you feel good. And as you're going through the process, it's almost like when you accept it and send love to them, knowing that, they're meant to experience their own soul journey, but with the people that are in their vibrations, because they're no longer in vibrational match with you. It's almost like the universe starts to work its magic for you as well. So it's not as difficult on an emotional or mental matter, that you don't have to deal with the boys a little too much, because, again, you see your world start to expand. And I know you've experienced this too, Carol, in a very large way.
Absolutely. Total transformation. You know, even my life in the last year doesn't even resemble itself. And I think a lot of it has to do with realizing that even people in my inner circle were not on the same vibration as me, and I had to make some tough choices and let them go with love. And when I did that, I flourished. My life completely flourished. So realize that sometimes, even though there are people that you actually love, they just aren't good for your soul. Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely. They don't, and you have to realize that, and that's a bit of tough self-love too.
Yes, it is. It's and you know, anybody who says that, you know, the awakening process, or, you know, really starting to ascend and finding your soul power is is a fun and beautiful process. It is, but it's difficult, and people need to understand this. So don't think that if one day you're having an emotional meltdown and you're so angry and all like emotions are coming up that you're not spiritual anymore. You know, just give yourself a love hug and say, you know what? I'm embracing this and I'm letting it go, because you have to go with the flow when this comes out. If you suppress it, you won't be able to expand. You know, you need to be able to allow it to flow through you. So if you need someone to, you know, just be your venting for a few minutes, or if you need to go outside and just scream while you're listening to music in your car, you know, do this. This allows you to know that you are a soul having a human experience. And guess what? The vessel, my friends, comes with something called the emotions and the ego. So, and we're always going to have it. So we're going to go up and down all over the place, but you just need to recognize when this happens, you don't want to live there. You want to be able to go with the flow, let it come out of you, and then get back into a higher level. So we will be back very shortly. So enjoy this commercial break, and we'll be back with Chaos to Clarity. Stay tuned.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
When Dad needed help getting around, I became his driver. Soon enough, it was up to me to be his housekeeper and financial manager, too. When he moved in, I became his cook and even his nurse. But no matter what roles I play, I know I'm still his daughter.
We understand the roles you play. So to help, we created aarp.org/caregiving, where you can connect with experts and other caregivers. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest, Carol Starr Taylor, and I are talking about Chaos to Clarity. And spirit is really growing in my living room right now, Carol, and I feel that they're saying, take the mic, Mike. You've got some important messages that are coming through you right now. I can feel your channels going on as well.
Yeah, you know, I think that I mean, a lot of your listeners are awakening or awake already, and but there are a few that will come and listen in to the show that are just starting their journey. And it doesn't matter what chronological age you are, as far as, you know, in your physical body. It's when you're ready, and there is no time. We have to go through all of this. And in order to hit that awakening, I think we need to go through these different stages. And
Yes.
these are, and some of the decisions that you need to make can be very, very, very stressful and very chaotic and turn you into a tailspin.
Yes.
Just so, 6 years ago, I left a very long-term relationship / marriage, friendship, and I knew that it needed to be done. And it's not like I woke up one day, but I knew that I needed to do that for self-preservation. I don't know why. I didn't know why. I just knew that there was something that I needed to do. And that turned into honestly a terrible, chaotic life. But coming out of that, so know that your listeners need to understand that sometimes the decision, even though you're on the right path, can be very, very stressful, can be very, very chaotic. But once you start to go through the process and sit back and understand, I think that the clarity for me was, sitting back and saying, okay, I know now why all of these things, why my path was the way it was, why my journey was exactly this way. It needed to be so that I can reach out, that I can help change people. And my book and my story, I don't believe is that extraordinary. And it's the thing, it really is the things that happen to ordinary people each and every day.
Yep.
And they just don't talk about it. So it's getting the conversation. It's getting people to be aware of their circumstances and strategies that they can use to move forward and actually find their own purpose, their own mission in life, and where they see it. For me, it's about inspiration. For somebody else, that is their journey.
Yes, absolutely. They're all unique in their own way. And we all have the common denominators, absolutely. That's part of the process. But again, it's very unique. And this is why I also call this a sacred journey, that you might talk to certain people about things, and you might have a few people that are very close to you, but keep this, it's almost like this process is something you really want to do with your soul, because you have the closest connection with soul. And when you start to tell other people what it is that you're trying to do or where you're going to go, sometimes they might say something that changes that perspective. So it might take you a little bit longer. And yes, that's designed to happen that way. But as you start to go through it, you'll find that you become more of hermit mode or more of solitude, and you experience more with yourself and God, whoever your God is. Right?
Well, for me, I think that when first of all, I think what changed a lot for me was gratitude. I believe that gratitude is the root of everything. And when you are thankful for every single thing that you have and that you are, you have more to be grateful for, because each and every day you're thinking of new things. I mean, it's funny. I find I'm driving the car and I get a great parking spot and I go, thank you, parking karma. And it's just, or whether it's a song on the radio and something's coming and you're like, oh my God, this is my favorite song. Thank you. And it's just being aware of what's going on around you and being thankful for everything that you have and the experiences. And even if somebody doesn't resonate with you, still be thankful for that interaction, because that is part of the process.
Absolutely.
So I think that gratitude is a huge component from moving from chaos to clarity, and changing your mindset through the law of attraction. I truly believe that it is belief. Your belief,
yes,
whether you can or you can't, you're right. So, and positivity. So not everything is going to turn out the way you envisioned it.
That's correct. But absolutely.
But it's the way, when you put it out there, it'll manifest in the way it's supposed to. And it doesn't happen overnight. So, 2 years ago, I started the Traveling Sisterhood, and I had no idea what that was going to even look like. It started off as an idea of uniting women, and I realized that women felt alone, and during the most trying times, and you felt alone, and I knew that even though I was very social, I was alone, that there must be people exactly like me. And so I started the sisterhood, and it has swelled globally to over 5,500 women, and grows each and every day. And it really is about building each other up and being that soul sister connection that you have with another person. And and it's just a beauty. I call it magic. I call it absolute magic. People that you never thought you would meet in a million years, and you're connecting like you've always known each other.
Yeah, it's the soul family. It's people that are drawn to your vibrations are in, so we're creating a network of people within certain vibrations that are out, we're all on our own soul mission, but it's the frequency of the group that pulls people together. Right?
That's correct. So as you raise your own vibration, the higher vibe people are going to be coming in your way, and part of you. And as you are changing and growing, and you do have that shift in your mindset, which is so profound that you are almost shocked by the type of people and the energies that are surrounding you, how much different they are compared to what you were. It's incredible. So, that is a huge component when you raise your vibration, to understand that the people that are low vibing, you're not going to be resonating with them anymore.
Yeah, and it happens throughout the journey with everybody, that you might start to follow someone or listen to somebody, and you love their work, and then all of a sudden you start to shift thinking, not really jiving with them anymore, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's about your soul saying, okay, you know what, you guys were supposed to connect energetically so they could help you, but now you're going down this path and somebody else shows up. Embrace these moments. And, when you were going back a few moments ago when you were talking about, she didn't know what it was going to turn into, again, because when you don't have expectations and you don't assume how something's going to take place, you can never be disappointed. And believe me, that's when the magic appears. Because, again, you can throw out a vibration of something wonderful and beautiful, but don't assume how that's going to take place. This is what Carol's talking about, that allow the universe to bring that into your reality and allow them to create the magic that you couldn't even possibly have imagined because you've never experienced it before. So this is about working with the higher self. And when you get that clarity, you start to see these wonderful things happening. Even at the beginning, my friends. I think about when I woke up, the mass awakening, 9 years ago now, I think. And I remember just sitting there, God, and saying, oh, my gosh, I can't do this anymore. I can't go through this. I got to break these repeated patterns, I promise. I basically made a deal with God and said, okay, I need to get out of this. And magic started to appear, even though I was in a really bad place in my life. I look back now, and again, I am who I am today because of those experiences. Because we all go through them, and now I can say, oh, yeah, I've been there, done it. Yeah, oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, yeah, I remember that. And it allows you to, so the person you're speaking with can say, oh, my gosh, you're going through this too. Yeah, so many of us on this planet are going through the same vibrational energies, but we're experiencing them in different way, right?
So, and you have to be open to it. And I think that what happens when you have clarity and and again, you're right, not having any expectations. The idea of not having any expectations to not be disappointed. The other thing that is so crucial about this is that when you don't have any expectations and things do arise, your reaction is totally different. And you're more of, I'll roll with it and see where this goes versus trying to fight it. Because you know that the universe has your back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know that, okay, so I tried a few things with the sisterhood, and I tried some ideas and wanted to do certain things, and I got the message, okay, nobody's ready for that. Okay, next shift. Mm-hmm. Instead of it's not personal, it's and again, you can try different things, and if you don't have anything attached to it other than you know that the universe has your back, that you know that, okay, I'm going to be shown the right path and it's going to guide me to where it needs to go. And it's amazing when that happens.
Yeah. And sometimes you try something, it doesn't work out. It doesn't mean no, it just means not now. This is happening with a lot of us.
And it may take a different, and the whole idea is that when you put it out there, and we'll talk about this in the next segment, but, when you put something out there, man, oh man, it may take years before it manifests.
Oh, we know that. So when we come back from commercial break, I'll do the weekly reading, and then we'll find out a little bit more about Carol Starr Taylor. Stay tuned. Right after this commercial break.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Hello, I'm John Lithgow. Manatees are unique, among the most amazing animals on Earth, but they're endangered. We pose the greatest threat to their survival. Many manatees are killed or injured by boats or other recreational activities. I'm a writer of children's books, including one about manatees, and I believe education is the key. You can be part of the solution. Please contact Save the Manatee Club right now. Call 1-800-432-JOIN. Thank you.
Welcome back to Vibe Nation Radio, where today my special guest, Carol Starr Taylor, and I have been talking about from chaos to clarity. And this is the time in the show when I just tap into spirit and ask them to give the message for the upcoming week. And it always has to do with what we're talking about. So spirit is saying that those that are listening in to this radio show are realizing they need to go in a little bit more and quiet the mind to be able to create this new beginning that your soul is so worthy of. And that by taking that simple time to self and quiet the mind, they're saying you're going to have a lot of aha moments. And they're saying this will have to do with situations you may be dealing with that you still feel this is unfair or that's unfair. And they're saying this is about bringing that justice within yourself to know that you are truly worthy of this. And to be able to do this, you need to be able to go within and quiet the mind, because that will start to bring the balance. They're saying a lot of people still have the ego or the boys still controlling them, and they're saying this is a time where you can embrace them and know that it's coming from a shaky foundation that you may be dealing with. And they're saying, don't look at this as a shaky foundation. See, this is about building a foundation for yourself that you have, the ability to create that foundation for yourself, because the tools are being given to all of us. And we'll give you some information on how you can go deeper in this in a moment. But they're saying, start to celebrate life, celebrate who you are, be grateful for all that you have, and watch how fast things really start to change and how fast life starts to move, because you've taken the time with yourself to say, you know what, I am ready for this change, and allow the delays and frustrations that you feel are happening to be washed away, saying that I'm not going to dilly-dally anymore. I'm going to really, truly work on myself, knowing that this is how I bring balance into my life. They're saying use the creative life source energy, my friends. Get those sacral chakra energy moving, because we are co-creators. That's what we do. And in order to co-create, we got to be in line with our sacral chakra, which is where the creative life source energy is. So, have fun this week, they're saying. Enjoy yourself and know that you can go from clarity to chaos. But again, it's a process, and you come up and down as you're going through this. So, Carol, what would you like to add to that, my friend?
Well, so many things are coming up, and I wanted to let your listeners know that they can actually pick up my book at pretty well any online location that you buy books, Amazon, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, anywhere in the world, over 70 different platforms where you buy books, and it's called Life in Pieces, From Chaos to Clarity, and it is by myself, Carol Starr with 2 R's, Taylor, and you can reach me at carolstartaylor.com. It's funny when we talked about putting something out there. 2 years ago, I registered the Sisterhood Chronicles, and I'm excited to announce, and I haven't announced this publicly to any other place, and today's the day. So I am announcing that we are going to be doing the Sisterhood Chronicles. I have started a publishing company for anybody that's interested in publishing their book, whether you're writing fiction or nonfiction. And the Sisterhood Chronicles will be a series, a compilation series, starting now. And the first book is called Live Out Loud. So if you are interested in being part and letting your voice heard, because we want to hear your story, and you can reach me at info@creativepublishinggroup.com.
Beautiful. I'm so excited for you. And you announced it here on Vibration Radio. I feel very blessed and honored.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Well, and we're also
is,
coming down. Go ahead.
The whole idea is that we want to hear the voiceless. We want to hear people that feel that they're not in their power. We want to feel about them and the way they can inspire, because people unknowingly inspire each other. We want people that are going through their journey to talk about what they're doing. And, it doesn't have to always be done in a gut-wrenching. I mean, my story, I wrote very raw and real. If you don't feel comfortable, not everybody feels comfortable to write about their story coming from their own place. Sometimes you want to use characters. Sometimes we will work with you, and it's about getting your message out to the world.
Yeah, beautiful. Your mom's here again. She's so proud of you for what you did. And talking, she's like, yeah, that's my girl, raw and real. Like she said it as it was, and it needed to be said. And it is through our experiences that makes, again, when you look back and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I've gone through some crazy stuff. But again, it allows those people that get drawn to our vibrations to know that through our experience, we've been through what they're experiencing, so we can actually help guide the way to make their experience a little bit easier. When at the end, they still got to go through it, but they don't need to be, you know, like some of us have gone through some crazy stuff, like, whoa. And people are like, wow, I can't believe it that you went through this. But again, we're all coming together and creating a beautiful picture. And, you know, being able to release, you know, that which no longer serves you does take time. And Spirit's reminding me, those that follow Vibe Nation Radio, or those that are new today, you can go to my website, carrieturcott.com. You'll be able to find this information about Carol as well, how to reach her. So all that information is on my website. But if you roll over home, there's something called Vibercise. And when you go down, you'll notice it's the second one down. There's a meditation first, and the second one is the condo in my head exercise. This is a very interesting exercise I channeled 10, 12 years ago. And it allows you to see the repeated patterns. It allows you to see the good in why you went through the BS that you did, so that you can let it go and realize that you're a better person because of it. And it's almost like Spirit is saying, like, you've got exercises in your book as well, correct, my dear?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
and,
this is,
you know,
these
people
are tools.
need to, and people need to realize that they're not alone. And I think that when they understand, when people understand, and when your listeners understand that we're together, we're all together in this. We're a global community, and we're all going through all kinds of different things. We've had different experiences. We're all here to raise each other up. And your journey matters. Your story, your visions, your voice matters, because the person at the other end, however you decide to convey your message, there are people that need to hear it.
Yes, absolutely. And when you realize that you are a very important piece of this very beautiful puzzle that every single person on this planet is a part of, again, it allows you to understand the power that you truly have within you. And that, you know, what you're going through may not be exactly the same as what somebody else has gone through, but on a vibrational level, it is. It's just we're trying to break free of these old vibrations to create the new vibrations of love. And in order to do this, humanity has to go from chaos into clarity. And it's a process that the whole planet is going through right now. And I don't know why Spirit, I'm feeling like I've got a really strong, my heart chakra is just kind of really heavy right now. And I don't know why they're telling me to do this. They're saying that anybody who's listening to this radio show, if you are interested in having like a 30-minute reading, they're saying, I'm going to do a chaos to clarity reading it's a special. Anybody who's listening to the show, it will not be, you need to send me an email at my website saying I want chaos to clarity special. It's a 30-minute reading, and they're saying it's only going to be $80. So this is just coming out of my mouth as I'm speaking, and I think it's almost like they're saying that it's really important that people understand that, you know, if you can really find out where you need to really put that energy and release it. And then they're saying, and then once Carrie kind of shakes them up a bit, you might want to get Carol's book and go through it's almost like they're saying that we've come together to kind of bring to, like, I'm a channel. I can go in, and you know this, go in and say, okay, Carol, this is where you've got to be shook up. I shake you up, but then you release it yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So this is something that I'm feeling that you and I can help people with. And those that have stories that want to get involved with your stuff or get involved with the sisterhood. I mean, we're having that day in clarity. We haven't been told what day we're doing it in. But Carol and I are joining forces once again, and we're going to do a day of clarity. And we're going to allow people to go through a life-altering transitional day to say that, you know what, we can all go through this together. And we can celebrate one another and our victories together. And that's what you do with the sisterhood. You know, we celebrate one another's success. There is no competition when it comes to Carrie and Carol. I like that.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in competition. I believe in collaboration. Yeah. And, you know, I think that it does. And I do believe that for those people that know you, or that have had a reading by you, honestly, it just, Carrie just blows you away. And you'll have an understanding. You'll have an understanding of what you need to do. And And I think that my book and then our day together, there'll be a lot of aha moments. There'll be there'll be a lot of aha moments, and there'll be a lot of wow. So, but I think that there's a prep.
Yes. And again, a lot of people know you and I. We've done, I've been a part of a lot of your events. So again, Carol and I are very old soul sisters per se. We've had many, many, many past lives together, and that's the beauty of this journey. Your soul comes together, your soul tribe comes together, and you create the magic that lies within the soul because you've done it before. So I'm so grateful that you came on the show today, Carol. And again, anybody needs to find Carol. You can go to CarrieTurcott.com and look under Vibe Nation Radio, or go to Carol Star with double R Taylor.com for all the information about Carol, the upcoming events, and how to get her book. You can go right online from her website to purchase it right then and there. So have a wonderful week, my friends. And Carol, thank you again. I love you, sister, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
My friends. Bye.
Bye.